what principles do you kind of live by when it comes to being a salesperson? Like, what tips can you give to people on that?
Yeah, I think more storyteller than salesperson, because I think a good salesperson is great at storytelling, right? So whether it's when I'm in front of somebody in terms of, okay, I'm going to tell you the story of the movie we want to make, or whether it's, let me tell you the story about our company.
Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome back to Movie Scenes and Great Books. I'm your host, Joy Victoria.
I'm Christina Harris, your co-host.
And today, we are so excited because we are joined by a living film legend. We are joined by Mr. Robert Vince, who is largely responsible for my childhood, probably your childhood, the creator, the screenwriter, and the director of the Air Buiddies franchise, is here joining us today to give us some true wisdom and gems. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Actually, you
He's
have
having
us here
at
today,
his
so
office.
we have the pleasure to be in his studio.
Yes.
This is fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, and here you are, 14 movies later for Air Bud.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Which one? Gosh, everybody always asks me those.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like asking who's your favorite child, So,
Right.
So it's always. But I mean, there's certain ones that have sort of a special place in my heart. So obviously the original Air Bud, which was such a, that we always talk about lightning in a bottle moments. That was definitely one of those. When I saw the dog actually playing basketball here in Malibu in the Country Mart, we had put up that whole, set up for a regulation size basketball hoop, and actually saw the dog playing basketball because it wasn't like a gimmick.
Wow, so that dog is
really playing basketball, and we always joke because he had a better average than Shaq did, so, in terms of getting the baskets in. But
is so funny.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So
awesome.
that was kind of that moment where you go,
Yeah.
Oh, there was really something here that is special, unique, and never been seen before. And that was before visual effects, right? So it's not like we could use, the technical side of what we have today as tools to make a dog play basketball. That's what the dog did.
Wow, that's incredible. That seems like such a cool experience.
So that moment when you saw, his name was Buddy in real life? Yeah. Did you feel anything like where you can kind of feel the weight of what was about to happen when you saw?
Yeah, you always look at things, you always look backwards, connecting the dots, right? Like you can't connect dots looking forward. It just doesn't really work that way, But there was moments when I was just like, wow, this is like, okay, something special is happening here. But then there's all the confusion and noise of life that's going on, and so we made that movie. It was very low budget. In fact, we never got any sort of studio none of the studios wanted to have anything to do with the movie, especially family movies back then, sort of kind of like what's happening today. But then after we made it, I sent 20 minutes of footage to Disney, and that's when it all took off. So we'd already shot the movie by the time Disney got involved.
Wow.
Because Disney originally passed on the script, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I always said, I think I told you when we were at Pepperdine, is that it was really cool because I used to have this rejection letter from a development executive from Disney that was dated after the movie had already been released, and it was a huge success. So I always thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that feels good, huh?
Well, this is kind of like what Hollywood's like.
Right,
It is.
Right. It's like, gotcha.
It's like, and that was, again, before any, of the real breakthrough in the internet and with SVOD and AVOD and all that. So, you had there was the studios to go through, there was the television networks to go through. VHS hadn't really even, it was just starting. So
You
have to go back way back in history.
Right. And in terms of timeline, from the time that you wrote the screenplay for Air Bud, when did it actually get produced, or when did it finally get, let's say, distributed?
Yeah. So again, everything was so different back when we did that movie. So that movie is 28 years old from
97.
From its release. So everything was so different. I mean, how that movie got financed and then I can answer your question about how it was written, because I didn't write it. That was Paul Tamsley and Aaron Mendelsohn, who are amazing writers. But we literally would go to like the Cannes Film Festival with a poster of this dog playing basketball, and that's how we basically went to all sorts of different distributors, literally country by country, to make a what we call pre-sales, and then that gave us the money to really make the show.
Wow.
So it was like, hey, here's our poster of a dog playing basketball. It was like, what? Okay. You got to remember, basketball wasn't even that big internationally. So we couldn't get it financed in the U.S. So that's what we did. And that's how we...
That's great.
That is
incredible.
Yes, yeah.
And you've been very committed to family entertainment. Why the commitment to family entertainment? Is it a passion? Did you just fall into that, or what's your story?
Yeah,
about
I mean, it's
that?
always, it's one of those moments. My brother and I, we'd made 22 movies before we made a family movie. And we made this movie called Bulletproof Heart, which with Mimi Rogers and Anthony Paglia, which was sort of pre anything like Reservoir Dogs. So it was kind of violent movie. It was a gangster movie. It was Mark wrote it, and it was an amazing script, and we did extremely well and as an independent film. So my mom was down in LA with us, and we went to saw at Universal lot the screening, and she came out of the movie, and we're like, well, Mom, what did you think of that movie? My brother and I were like, she goes, that's what you're going to do with this powerful medium? Why don't you make a family movie? And we were crushed because we thought we were cool. So then I saw David Letterman's Stupid Petrix about 3 months later, and that was in the back of my mind, like, if my mom's disapproving of me, then I know it's always a problem, or was right. In particular. So that's how Air Bud came, just in the back of my mind.
Look what happens when you listen to your
mom. Exactly. So it was really cool in the sense that really it was a moment where it was, you get these ideas seeded in your mind, and then you go looking for them.
Yeah.
Right? Or when they are in front of you, you just kind of go like, why would I? If my mom hadn't seeded that idea of making family movies, is really a preferable direction from her point of view, and from my point of view. And then really after we made Airbud, I didn't knew that even when we were making that movie, that this is what I was going to spend the rest of my career doing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and in terms of just like the creative aspect of filmmaking and writing, I think aspiring artists get so caught up in that realm of things. But I heard you say that it's not that you're a super talented screenwriter, which
I'm not.
I bet everyone would beg to differ,
Yeah.
probably. But you said that you are a great salesman. So in terms of just being a salesperson, what principles do you kind of live by when it comes to being a salesperson? Like, what tips can you give to people on that?
Yeah, I think more storyteller than salesperson, because I think a good salesperson is great at storytelling, right? So whether it's when I'm in front of somebody in terms of, okay, I'm going to tell you the story of the movie we want to make, or whether it's, let me tell you the story about our company, or let me tell you the story about myself, which is always harder, and then, or whatever it is, I think storytelling is just in us, all human beings. That's what we are. We sit around a dinner table and we're always telling stories. Some of them are a little embellished, some are true, some are whatever, but they're all storytelling. And I think that I think the art of storytelling is really where I try to focus.
Yeah.
So, and then when I was talking to the Pepperdine students about screenwriting, I was like, stop thinking yourself as a writer and more of a storyteller. And I was saying that because everybody focused on the technical side of things rather than, is this a great story or not? Because you think about something like Airbud, it had gravitas, it had legs, it had 4 paws, really, literally, because it really had the ability to transcend multiple generations, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get that unless there's great storytelling.
I'm her mother. And
well, there we go. You didn't tell me. A sister, maybe.
So me and my siblings were into it, and then my kids.
So
it is transitional for generations.
Because the storytelling doesn't, like, a great story. I always, when I like to watch, also I see movies that are being made now and I see movies that are made in the past, but it really doesn't matter to me when that movie or that show was made. It's either great storytelling or it isn't.
True.
So and everybody has opinions, of course, about what's great storytelling.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's something that really you feel connected with emotionally.
Yeah.
It's the same as any brand. Like,
right.
if people say, "Oh, I have a brand." Well, do you really? Does anybody have an emotional connection to it?
Right.
And so like Disney has an emotional connection to that brand, but it doesn't necessarily what Disney does now, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes a long time to build a brand, and yes, a brand can be destroyed, but it takes a long time to destroy a brand too. So that happens a lot in our business.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I focus on storytelling, whether I'm pitching something, or I'm trying to sell it, or whether I'm trying to create it. It's like, who is my audience? What story do I want to tell, and why behind the story?
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing this? If there's no why behind it, then it's just candy, right?
Yes.
So there has to be a why, a theme, and I try to think of the theme before I even write.
Oh, really? So you write based upon a theme?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's fascinating.
Like, like it can be as simple like when we did Russell Man, it was about a Jack Russell Terrier that becomes a great wrestler, right? And what was behind us, like, well, what's the thing here? What I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say the strongest tag team is family. So I don't know why that came up to me, and so we write around that.
Yeah.
Like play from the heart is their butt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the dog. That's what that show's about. Like a boy and a dog saving each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the point score is. It really is about playing from the heart. And that's kind of those are the themes that matter when you're looking at.
Yeah.
I can say that with every one of our shows.
So without that, it would have been one great movie.
Exactly.
So this is what caused it to just rebirth again and again and again, because that's incredible how much you pulled out of that.
Did you expect that, or was it kind of a surprise to see it turn into like a full-on franchise versus just one movie?
Well, again, looking back is always easier to say, but I knew that when I saw the audience reaction, when I saw the first test screening, it was with then Joe Roth and Dick Cook were the head of the Disney Studios, and we did a test screening, and on the way out, it was so successsul. Yeah. Like the scores were so amazing, and I remember Joe Roth saying to me, because we usually have a test screen, they have edits they want to make and changes. They said, do not change a single frame, do not change anything. This is something is working here that's like magic.
Yeah.
And then as I was walking out, Dick Cook said, we're going to be talking about this movie 20 years from now.
He knew.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty great. Well, little do we know we're talking about a movie like almost 30 years. 30 years. So I guess looking back, there were hints that this was going to be more than just a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
And I mean, in what really made Disney was really that they created these shows or caused shows to be created that had an emotional resignation that worked with you, your mom, your grandparents, all the way up and down that multi-generational line. And that's what Airbud has. And that's why it's here today still.
Yeah. And just in terms of like navigating your way through the film industry, I think filmmakers say different things. Some people say, oh, it's kind of luck, like right place, right time. And then some people talk about creating opportunities for yourself. So what percentage of each do you think it is, and how can you position yourself well to where you get the opportunity to showcase your talents as a screenwriter, filmmaker, director?
It's all that. Like, you have to work hard to get lucky. So nobody I know anyways. There might be somebody out there that took a lottery ticket and they became super successful. And there are. But usually if you really look behind it, it really wasn't that. Yeah. Or they get lucky once, you never get lucky twice. So at some point, I always say to people, at some point, it's no longer luck. That you actually understand what you're doing. You have a good story sense. The audience appreciates what you're making, and that is a moment that I like. Like now, people can say to me, oh, how did that happen? Was it lucky? I'm like,
over and over again. I think
25 years ago, maybe it was lucky, but at a certain point, you're not
but
lucky.
Still here.
We're still here.
Yeah.
So just saying that, I think that it's all the things that you talked about. Like, I hate to give people advice because in a long way, all the conditions that existed that allowed me to do what we've done with Airbud and Airbud Entertainment, all the series we made, don't exist today. So for me to say, okay, you should do this is kind of a little bit silly because there's so many other opportunities I see for you. Like YouTube is the biggest platform and out there. The creation of content has never been less expensive. So storytelling is the greatest advantage, that you have because, everybody else has all the technical things and what studios do is they finance, they market and distribute, right? So if content becomes cheap to make, you don't need them for financing anymore.
Yeah.
If marketing is basically all done or primarily done through social channels, you don't need these big marketing budgets like what I grew up with that you had to have. You had to trailers in theaters and billboards and trailers on TV and TV ads and everything else. And then the final thing is distribution. So, and the distribution used to all go through the studios, or at least primarily. And now distribution is on YouTube or on other social channels that you can get on. So there really isn't, and I said that I think to your class, is that there is no longer any excuse.
Right.
I know, not that you can give yourself excuses. I can give myself excuses. Everybody does, but
all day,
But all day long, we can write them off the board. But the long story short is that all those conditions that studios were the gatekeepers do not exist anymore. Or they exist to a much smaller extent. But for you as a young aspiring filmmaker or your audience or whoever was listening to this, who your core audience is, that is the truth. Now, so you don't have to try one thing, try many things and see what hits, like what works for you. So I mean, look at this setup here. Like, this would never have been possible. Just if I turned the camera back on you guys. Got 3 cameras here, two iPhones. And and they're all super good quality.
And Johnny.
And Johnny with one light. So and one LED light, right? So think about that never existed in terms of the technical side for creating. Right. And now you add IA and add up and any of the stuff that you can create. Now with like in Midjourney or other types of platforms. Less human characters, more on the animation side. But that's all been. That's where it is and going. Right.
And I am interested to hear kind of your opinion on artificial intelligence, especially for writers. That's been a big point of contention. But what do you really think about it, and what do you think its place within helping writers is?
Well, I don't fear any technological changes really. I always look at things as tools, right? Like it's the great, advantage of having a lot of time because I've seen so many changes. And everybody freaked out about everything. It doesn't matter what it was. But the truth is, we're in a creator's economy, which means that creative people that have creative ideas, whether it's in our business or other businesses, are really, this is their time. So what AI does, at least in my working with it, is it's putting a whole new set of tools in my toolbox that allow me to create much more efficiently. And in terms of writing, I use it as I'm co-piloting when I'm writing. So before I used to have a writing assistants and and researchers and all that kind of stuff. Now it's so fun. I'm writing and I'm just I have an idea. Okay, tell me about this, and tell me about a show that I'm doing. Havana. Like, tell me about what happened with the Bacardi family in Cuba. That's a hint for what this show is about.
Yes, we got a little exclusive hint.
And I get all this research, and some of it's true, some of it's not, some of it's whatever. But it's not really I've tried to get Chat to write a scene or something just to see what we're doing. It's just a mess. So really, it's more just like we
assisting us.
It's more like a co-pilot is what I always say to people. But it doesn't take away from my creativity. I think it adds to it.
I agree.
I think
up to this point.
Well, and I don't think it will. Like we know, everybody knows. Like I'm in the visual effects business as well, right? So I give a lot of long-winded stories, so you can cut me off anytime.
No.
But with the visual effects business, when visual effects first came out, we were doing all this stuff with digital characters and everything else. Everybody had to have the coolest visual effect, right? And then they would try to do humans, make humans look, try to create humans. It never works. And because we as human beings are distinctly aware of what makes something human or look right. So I don't think there's a lot of risk of that. And then even when I read stuff that people send to me, because I've worked with AI and chat in a long time now since it first came out, I can tell.
The feeling.
I can feel it. I can feel it in the writing. The writing is very
disconnected.
Yeah, robust.
That's what machines don't have, feelings.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And that's what leads a great story.
Right. You guys heard it here. Mr. RV is not intimidated by artificial intelligence.
I'm not. In fact, I just look at it as another tool, and we're all up and down the line of everything we're doing in our company. We're using it, but none of it is a taking away from the creativity or the uniqueness of that. And I've never yet seen anything that's come from it that makes me worried.
Yeah.
If they can make humans look like humans and we as humans can't recognize that, then I'll worry.
Then we'll be scared.
Yeah. But I'm very, very, we learn, so our brains learn so quickly. Like a machine can't learn like we learn. So, and any neuroscientist will tell you this, is like, that's not how the machine still is learning from historical data. It doesn't do a good job of projecting forward into what we're thinking about. Like if you think of every movie, like think about Elon Musk with the.
That's what I was thinking of.
Like he's like bringing Blade Runner. Well, basically, that was done how many years ago with self-driving cars, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. It's not that idea came from the creative mind of a writer, and then was put onto a screen by a director. And all that kind of stuff, and now he's like, "Oh, I created the robo-taxi." Like, really? Did you? Or did you provide the engineering behind it?
Right,
not the idea behind it.
Right. You're like, that's the Jetsons. No.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Very, very good comments and advice. And just in terms of taking a landing here, you've been in this industry for decades. Again, you've seen so many changes. Yeah. Your career, is such a dream. And I just want to hear, what's been the best part for you of your career, or what era of time have you really appreciated the most?
God, that's always so interesting. So everything's looking backwards, right?
Yeah.
But I don't tend to, for right or for wrong, I don't spend a lot of time looking backwards. So I'm always really excited about what I'm doing next.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that is kind of part of it. If you don't have that desire, that yearning, that burn to do something, I am now 62 years old.
Wow.
I have 5 grandkids.
Oh my goodness!
Congratulations.
Yeah, I love it. It's the greatest thing ever. But I'm not a young person by sort of that biological age standard. But in my mind and creativity wise, I think I'm way more creative than I've ever been, because I don't have a lot of those thoughts, those demons in your head going, "Oh, this is not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not doing this right." When you're young, you have all that. You have this incredible burst of energy and capability, but then at the same time, you have that anchor of, "Am I good enough?
Yeah.
What makes me think I can do this? How is those thoughts don't sort of circulate with me anymore."
Well, that's what God says. The inward man is renewed. Even though the outward is perishing, the inward man is just renewed.
Right.
Yeah, I love
day
that.
By day.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm super when I speak to students like yourself, and you guys are so darn smart. I love it. That makes me excited. I love walking into a classroom and just hearing all these new ideas and so things that excite me are really about the future for others beyond me. That's what excites me. From my grandkids, or my daughter, my little granddaughter Jasmine the other day was she's starting to watch Pup Academy, which has done super well, and she goes, "Grandpa, can we can we have a Pup Academy school at the house?
Oh, stop.
And I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's just start one.
It's too cute.
So those are the gifts, because that's what I remember, and that's what when I'm writing. So when I was writing this, writing an episode for we're doing a Pup Academy 3 sophomore years. But I was writing. I was like, that's really a good idea. I mean, the Pup Academy, it's happening in the kids' house. So their ideas and their generation of ideas are just awesome. Aww. Like your mom remembers.
I homeschool, so that's something they would have done.
That is, I love that. Love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's what excites me is future always, not past. I mean, it's nice for me. I like talking about it just in the way that if it provides some sort of inspiration, because most of the stories that resonate with me are the stories of adversity. The adversity that you have to go through. Mm-hmm. The fact that if you want to do something, you're going to face a lot of rejection. You're going to face a lot of naysayers. There's more people in this world that know how to say no than yes. In fact, and most people's job is to keep their job. Yeah. It's not to take risks. So if you're working at a big company, mostly they're trying to keep their job. And that's not saying anything negative about them or human nature. It's that they have families to feed. They have, and somebody can walk in their office tomorrow and say, "Oh wow, you made a really dumb mistake here. You're out." Nobody can fire me.
That's right.
I might want to fire myself, but nobody can.
But no one else.
So I think that those are the kind of things. Is like you're going to face rejection. Mm-hmm. Rejection is sometimes protection, because you don't really know why the universe is telling you.
Say that again.
Rejection is often protection, because I have so many instances of that. Yeah. Where if I had gone ahead with that deal with Air Bud, I would have never done the original deal with Disney. Yeah. If I had gone, so there's a lot of moments along the way where you go, geez, if I had got that deal done, or if I was able, I would be way more successful. Or maybe all the good things you don't know about yet would not have occurred. So, we tell ourselves around here is like, what's our next stupid idea? And we take that because I was told so many times when I went in and pitched everybody that it was a stupid idea. Wow. Like literally the word stupid. I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to say that in preschool, but it's okay. You can say it now. Right. But so what's a stupid idea? Well, most people are in a stupor, is the word I use for it. Stupid doesn't mean that unintelligent. It just means that they have not thought of it yet. So that's why
genius hits a target nobody can see. She taught me that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You're right on. So this kind of the words that I would say is for all of us is like, rejection is not necessarily a negative thing. It's just part of what is either teaching you to move some lessons so you can move forward and beyond this, or it's protecting you for something that if you went ahead with it would have closed all those doors that you don't know about.
Wow.
So every one of your great ideas is a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's just other people haven't figured it out yet.
They don't know it yet. I love that. Wow. Well, we've gotten so much wisdom from you today. So many gems were dropped today, and I'm so thankful just that you gave us the opportunity to do this. Thank you so much, Mr. RV, Mr. Robert Vince. This has been great. Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to have the pleasure of both of you today. That makes me really happy.
We're so grateful.
I always believe in family, and obviously I'm in the business, but family and connection of family. Yeah. And family can be...
And her dad's out there.
He sure is,
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, but just everybody together in that family unit, which can make up a lot of different things. But, having a family, having a group of people that have each other's back is really what makes us all, as I said with my mom, be able to move forward into where the real passion and desires and goodness that we can create in this world.
That's right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.